Hey guys, Bearded Beast of Duloc here. The topic for this video is fat intake. I received an email this morning and I was criticized saying my recommendations for fat intake were outdated. Now before I get into the email, I want to talk about my recommendations for fat intake, and you guys can make up your own decision if the beast is outdated. When I'm helping somebody set up a diet, first and foremost, I have them set up their protein levels. After this, I tell them generally to set up 20 to 35% of their calories from fats. Now, I give a wide range because it can, how you set up your fats can depend on a lot of things. If you have a fast metabolism and you need to eat more calories, sometimes eating more fat makes that easier. If you're older and more carb sensitive, insulin sensitive, it might make sense to eat higher fat percentage, and so on and so forth. So, I give people a percentage range of fat intake. I generally do so because we have this, our culture has such a fat fear, and I like to set a minimum level just to get their fats up and to have them eating a little bit more healthy. Now, folks, after I have them get their protein set and their fat set, they fill in the gaps with carbs. Simple as that. Now, the email was criticizing me, saying that you should calculate fat intake not off ratios, but off body weight, because your needs are based on mass and not energy expenditure, so on and so forth. Well, guys, that might be true from a scientific standpoint, but if you're looking at the practicality of eating, okay, if you have somebody, let's just take an example of a 18-year-old hard gainer, because most of you fit into that class. The demographic for lifters is generally the 18 to 22-year-old guy who has a fast metabolism. So when advice trickles out into the interwebs, kids, it's mostly for those 18 to 22-year-olds who have the faster metabolisms. Obviously, a lot of you aren't in that range, but many of you are. So with that said, I'm going to use that as an example. If you have a kid who has about a 4,000 calorie maintenance level and he's 18 years old, and that's not a rare beast, kids. I was like that when I was 18. I could eat all day and not gain weight. If you go in and tell this kid two things, the first one is, you should never, ever eat more than 150 grams of protein a day. It's not needed. And then you tell them another thing with fat. You should never, never eat more than X amount of fat, and it should be based on your body weight. What you're doing is you're forcing this kid to keep a strict protein intake level, which is a strict caloric intake level, and then a strict fat intake level, which is a lower caloric intake level, and then he's got to eat a crap ton of carbs a day. Here are the carbs, carbs, carbs everywhere. Eat your rice, eat your rice, eat your rice, eat your rice, eat your taters. Guys, I do not advocate that. Science aside, that might be true. It might not. I haven't done the research, and quite frankly, guys, I do not care, because I'm about practicality and not obsessive-compulsive eating structures. From a practical standpoint, if you are this type of kid and you limit your protein and you limit your carbs or you limit your fat, you're forced to eat a ton of carbs. And guys, that is just not practical for many of you. It's easier to get in your calories with fats, especially if you have a harder time eating. So eating a little more fat and a little more protein on a daily basis might be outdated, guys, but it sure makes life easier. So guys, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you have any video suggestions for the Bearded Beast of Duloc, who doesn't want you to eat a ton of carbs each day, leave them below. And as always, guys, please subscribe to the Bearded Beast of Duloc, kids. The Bearded Beast of Duloc, who wants you to eat more fat so you don't have to stuff yourself with carbs, guys. Have a great day, guys.